I knew something was wrong the moment my daughter walked into the room and every face around the Christmas table froze, like she was an intruder in her own family. My name is Amara Chokuma, 38, Lagos-born Abuja refined. On paper my life looked perfect. A thriving interior design company, a home in Maitama, a husband admired by everyone and a 12-year-old daughter Zara who was my entire world. People like to say I was blessed. But blessings can be poisoned when shared with the wrong people. Our picture-perfect life, or so I thought. My husband Tomoa was the golden one in his family, calm, polished, articulate. My in-laws adored him in the loud, dramatic way wealthy Yoruba families love to display pride. I was the outsider they tolerated. But I didn't care. I loved my husband. Thought he loved me too. Our home was a curated masterpiece. White marble floors, gold accents, the smell of fresh lilies always in the air. People walked in and praised us like we were a model couple. They didn't know the silence behind our bedroom door. They didn't see the hesitation in his eyes when he looked at me. They didn't hear the whispers he thought I never caught. I dismissed it all. Stress, work, fatigue, life. Until things began to shift. Subtle cracks I ignored. It started with late-night messages. He used to leave his phone anywhere. Kitchen counter, living room sofa, sometimes even the car. Suddenly, the phone became an extension of his hand. Screen always facing down. Notifications silent. A new password I didn't bother asking for. One night as he showered, his phone buzzed. Just once. A single vibration. I glanced without thinking. Name, AO from work. Message preview, you didn't reply me. Should I still come tomorrow? Ew. A common enough name. But something in that wording. Too casual. Too expectant. When Tomoa stepped out, towel on his waist, I asked gently, who is AO? He paused just a second too long. New intern. Young girl. Always asking questions. He chuckled. Very clingy. Plea. That word tasted wrong in my ears. But I smiled. Work must be overwhelming. He nodded quickly. Exactly. Please don't add pressure. And that was the end of it, at least for him. But for me, a seed had been planted. Christmas plans every year. Tomoa's family hosted a massive Christmas gathering. A show of wealth disguised as tradition. Long tables, excessive decorations, live band, chefs that cooked like they were feeding royalty. This year, however, I noticed something different. His mother called him, not me, to discuss arrangements, something she had never done before. Fine. Maybe she wanted more control. But then Zara came home from school 2 days before Christmas looking worried. Mommy, Grandma called me today. Why? I asked. Zara hesitated. She asked if you're coming for Christmas. My heart dipped. Why wouldn't I be? Zara shrugged. I told her yes. She said, oh, we'll manage. Manage? Me? I laughed it off for Zara's sake, but deep inside, a quiet alarm started ringing. The Christmas gathering, we arrived a bit late. Traffic along Guarinpa Road had been brutal. The compound was full of sparkling lights, giant ornaments, and red, gold ribbons on every pillar. As we walked in, the noise dropped just slightly, just enough for me to notice. Eyes shifted. Bodies stiffened. Smiles felt glued on, artificial. Tomoa squeezed my shoulder. Ignore them. You know how my family can be. But his hand was cold. And he didn't look at me when he said it. We joined the long dining table. His mother, Mama T, looked radiant in her lace, dripping with diamonds. Good evening, Ma, I greeted warmly. She replied, barely looking at me. Then her eyes softened at Zara. My granddaughter. Come and sit beside me. Zara smiled and moved to sit next to her. I stayed beside Tomoa. Dinner began, filled with the usual chaos. Uncles telling the same stories, aunties gossiping, children running around. At first everything felt normal. Until it didn't. The insult had started so casually. So softly. So calculated. Auntie Ronk, one of Tomoa's older cousins, leaned forward and said, Ihen Zara dear, your grandma told us about your school grades. Zara looked confused. Pie grades? I frowned. Zara had almost all A's. Ronk continued, smiling too sweetly. She said you're struggling. My heart thudded. That's not true, I said calmly. My daughter is among the top in her class. Ronk chuckled, eyes sharp. Children always appear smarter when mothers exaggerate. My breath caught. Tomoa shifted beside me, but he said nothing. Zara looked down, embarrassed. Before I could respond, Mama T added, struggling is not a crime, Amara. Some children simply inherit certain limitations. I froze. Limitations. Meaning, for me. I stared at her, stunned. But Zara is doing exceptionally well. Mama T cut me off with a wave of her hand. We all know intelligence is not your strong area, my dear. You are more decorative. A light laugh rippled across the table. Something hot and acidic rose in my chest. Before I could speak, Uncle Connell chimed in. Let the girl focus. Not every child needs to aim high. After all, look at her mother. She found a rich husband and managed. I clenched my hands under the table. Zara's eyes glistened. She whispered, Mommy, are they saying I'm— No, my love, I said, my voice low tight. But Mama T wasn't done. We just want the best for her. Maybe she should repeat a year. It might help her catch up. Pithu. Then Auntie Ronk delivered the final blow. Or maybe send her to a smaller school. One that understands children who don't quite shine. I stood up so fast my chair screeched. Silence washed over the room. Even the band stopped playing. All eyes turned to me. Zara's face was red, hurt, confused. My blood roared in my ears. I looked straight at Mama T. My daughter is not the one who needs correction here. Tamawa rose slightly, whispering, Sit down, Amara. Don't spoil Christmas. Spoil Christmas? After what they just did. I turned to him slowly. You're telling me to sit down? His jaw tightened. Please. Not here. That was when I noticed it. He wasn't shocked. He wasn't angry at them. He looked guilty. As if he knew this would happen. As if he allowed it. My heart dropped, cold and heavy. I pushed my chair back fully and held Zara's hand. Come. We're leaving. Mama T scoffed. Let her go. She has always been dramatic. Tamawa stepped forward. Amara, don't walk out. You're overreacting. I stared at him, every piece of me trembling. Tamawa, why didn't you defend your daughter? He opened his mouth, then closed it. That was my answer. I walked out with Zara, leaving a room full of whispers behind me. Outside by the car, Zara burst into tears. Mommy, why do they hate me? I held her tightly. They don't hate you, my angel. They fear what they can't control. I was trembling too, but not from sadness. From clarity. From realization. From anger sharpening into something cold, strategic, dangerous. As I opened the car door, my phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. I clicked it. And my breath vanished. A picture. Tamawa. Smiling. Holding a woman I had never seen before. Her head on his chest. Her fingers curled into his shirt like she owned him. Caption. He said the divorce will be quick if you don't fight. My entire world tilted. Divorce? Click. I looked up at the house, at the expensive lights, the fake smiles, the insults. Suddenly everything clicked. Every hesitation. Every whispered conversation. Every cold glance from his family. They weren't insulting Zara by accident. They were setting a narrative. Painting me as unfit. Painting my daughter as struggling. Preparing the ground. Preparing his custody battle. A shiver ran through me. I stared at that picture again. And that was when part one of my perfect life officially ended. I whispered to myself, so this is the game you want to play, Tamawa? Fine, we'll play. But I promise you, you will regret starting it. As I started the engine, my phone buzzed again. A voice note from the same number. I pressed play. And the moment I heard the woman's voice, smooth and confident, say, He told me you're weak. My hand tightened on the steering wheel. He was about to find out exactly how wrong he was. The voice note ended, but its echo settled inside me like ice. He told me you're weak. Weak. I drove home in silence, Zara asleep in the back seat, her head resting against the window. The city lights of Abuja streaked across her face, making her look too small, too innocent, to carry the weight of adult betrayal. But I wasn't innocent. And I wasn't small. And I definitely wasn't weak. The night everything changed, I tucked Zara into bed. She held my wrist, still hurt. Mommy, will Daddy be home? I forced a smile. Yes, my love. Try to rest. But inside me, a storm had begun. I walked into the living room, turned off every light and sat in the dark. And I waited. At 1:17 a.m. the front door clicked. Tamawa entered quietly, thinking I was asleep. I didn't move. I watched him walk in, remove his jacket, loosen his tie, and glance at his phone with a smile that wasn't meant for me. Then he saw me. His body jerked. Amara? Why are you sitting here like this? I stared at him. Who is she? His throat tightened. She. He forced a laugh. Please. Don't start. I'm asking you directly, Tamawa. Who is she? His eyes flicked away. That was enough. I stood up slowly. You had your family insult our daughter tonight, while you stood there saying nothing. Why? He inhaled sharply. You know how they are. I didn't want drama. Is that the story you plan to use in court? He froze. As I saw it, the fear, the guilt, the calculation. Court, he whispered. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and held up the picture. His mistress leaning into him. His hand on her waist. His smile, real, relaxed, intimate. Color drained from his face. Amara, listen. No, I said quietly. You listen. I know everything. He swallowed. You don't know anything. So you are filing for divorce. He stiffened. Amara, lower your voice. I stepped closer. Were you going to take Zara from me? Silence. That was my answer. And in that moment something inside me hardened into steel. Tomoa whispered, let's talk tomorrow. I'm tired. No, I said softly. I think you've said everything already. I walked past him, not touching him, not looking at him. For the first time since I married him, I saw him clearly. And I saw what I had to do. By dawn, I was no longer the woman who begged for emotional crumbs. I was the woman who built her own wealth. Her own life. Her own identity. And I was going to protect it. Step 1. Follow the money. At 8 a.m. I called my accountant, Mr. Kola. Good morning, ma'am, he said. Kola, has my husband tried to access any of my company accounts recently? He hesitated. Yes, ma. 2 weeks ago. He claimed he was helping you approve a contractor. But the transaction looked strange. So I called you, but your phone was off during your Paris trip. A chill ran through me. Paris trip, the one I took Zara on. He had been planning even then. What kind of transaction? I asked. He attempted to move 32 million into a joint investment account. I whispered, joint? With a woman named, I cut him off. I don't need the name. It was enough. My husband had tried to move my money, to fund his life with her. And his family had insulted Zara to paint me as unstable. Unworthy. This wasn't a simple affair. It was a coordinated operation. A setup. And I had walked right into it. But now, I was awake. Step 2. Move quietly. I spent the next 4 days transforming my world while pretending to live normally. Tomoa believed I was hurt, confused, emotional. But no. I was building. Behind his back I separated all my company accounts, froze any joint signatures, transferred my shares to a trust Zara was beneficiary of, moved personal funds into offshore savings, documented every strange financial behavior, quietly met with the best lawyer in Abuja. Everything was legal. Everything was quiet. Everything was smart. And while I worked, Tomoa unraveled. His control began to slip. One evening he approached me in the kitchen. Amara, he said gently, why are you avoiding me? I looked at him over the chopping board, calm as the ocean before a storm. Avoiding you? I thought you said you were tired. His jaw tightened. You're not yourself. I smiled faintly. You've never seen me. He blinked, confused. Then came the first sign of panic. Are you trying to take Zara away from me? I laughed softly. Why would I? You're the responsible parent. Aren't you? He studied me. Suspicious. Restless. Good. Amara, don't do anything foolish, he whispered. I leaned close. You started a game you weren't prepared to finish. He stepped back, breathing uneven. He could feel it. The shift. The mistress makes her move. On Friday night around 9 p.m. a message came through. AO from work. Since he can't tell you, I will. He's choosing me. His family supports it. Stop embarrassing yourself. I breathed out slowly. So she was bold. Good. Bold people make mistakes. I replied simply, thank you. Then I blocked her. 5 minutes later Tomoa entered the room, pacing. Amara, someone told me you transferred funds from the company. I raised a brow. You're monitoring my business now? No. But I heard things. He sat on the bed, shaking his leg, a habit he had when fear crept under his skin. Please don't make this messy. I tilted my head. Messy? I've only just started cleaning. He paled. He wanted a divorce where he left with my money, my house, and my daughter. But now he was losing every grip he thought he had. And he didn't know why. Mama T hosted a formal Christmas reception a week after the dinner. Of course she didn't invite me. Which was perfect. I still went. I arrived in a fitted emerald dress, simple jewelry, Zara by my side. The two of us stepped in like royalty entering a ballroom. Every conversation stopped. Mama T nearly dropped her glass. Amara, nobody invited you. I smiled sweetly. I know. That's why I came. Her eyes narrowed. Don't cause a scene. A scene. I laughed softly. You caused that yourself. Then I turned and saw Tomoa. And the woman from the picture. Ew. Her hand was linked with his. My husband jerked his hand away, panicked. Ao, go inside. Ao smirked, refusing. Mama T looked furious. You brought her here? Ao lifted her chin. I'm part of this family now. Mama T choked. What nonsense. I folded my arms. Oh, so you didn't know? Gasps echoed around the table. Uncle Connell muttered. Tomowa, what have you done? Auntie Ronk whispered loudly. So this is the girl? Ah, she's even basic. I had not prepared for that reaction. His family wasn't supporting the mistress. They had been supporting him. Ao wasn't part of the plan. He was a complication. And complications unravel lies. Tomowa grabbed my arm. Amara, can we talk privately? I pulled my arm back. We'll talk here. He swallowed. Fine. You want the truth. Mama T shouted. Tomowa, don't say anything. But it was too late. His pride was boiling over. She was never supposed to be here. She got pregnant. Every voice fell silent. Ao gasped. Tomowa. I told you not to say. Mama T screamed. Pregnant. With whose child? Ao's voice cracked. Tomowa promised. He said he would leave her. He said he would support me. And right there, right in front of his entire family, the whole betrayal spilled open. The affair. The pregnancy. The financial plans. The setup against me. The lie he told Ao. The lie he told his family. The lie he told me. He tried to silence her, but Mama T grabbed his shoulder, furious. You wanted to divorce your wife? Over this. Tomowa's lips trembled. Ma, please listen. The room exploded with chaos. Ao crying. Mama T shouting. Relatives whispering. Children being led away. Zara holding my arm tightly. Tomowa sweating, shaking, losing control in real time. And I stood there, silent. Because the truth had set me free far better than revenge ever could. Ao looked at me and whispered, You win. I shook my head. No, I don't need to win. I only wanted the truth to come out. Her eyes widened. She realized something in that moment. I was never the weak one. I was the one holding the strings. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more powerful African tales. After the chaos, Tomowa followed me outside. Desperate. Sweating. Broken. Amar, please. Please, don't leave. I looked at him dispassionately. You already left. You just didn't tell me. He fell to his knees. Shilly kneeled. Amara, I will fix everything. I made a mistake. I was stupid. Please don't take Zara away from me. I stared down at the man who once made me believe in partnership. You wanted to take her from me. He shook his head violently. I was confused. I didn't mean it. Tomowa, you planned it. No, he whispered. My mother pushed me. Pressure. The expectations. That's not true, I said calmly. Your mother didn't get Ao pregnant. He flinched. Silence stretched. Then, he whispered something I never expected. Ao lied. My heart stopped. What? She lied about the pregnancy. She told me she was carrying my child. But she wasn't. I found out last week. Last week. He nodded. But I didn't know how to tell you. You didn't know how to tell me? He tried to grab my hand. I swear, Amar, she trapped me. I never wanted to leave you. I only wanted to scare you into being more obedient. My blood turned cold. Obedient? So the insults to Zara were part of what? Humbling me. He swallowed. I needed leverage. I thought if you felt insecure, you would rely on me more. This wasn't just betrayal. This was psychological warfare. Calculated. Intentional. My heart hardened further. Then he whispered, please, don't destroy me. I looked him dead in the eyes. I'm not the one who destroyed you. You did that yourself. As I walked away, he shouted after me, Amara, please. What are you going to do? I turned back only once. And my answer made his knees buckle. Whatever I need to do. That night as I lay beside Zara, my phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. I have information you'll want. It's about your husband and his family. Meet me tomorrow. Attached was a location. I frowned. A stranger wanting to meet? Another twist. I opened the location pin. And my breath froze. It wasn't a restaurant. Or an office. It was an address connected to a name I hadn't heard in 10 years. My ex-business partner. A man who once warned me, one day your husband will betray you. And when he does, it will be bigger than you expect. Why was he contacting me now? And what did he know? The address glowed on my screen long after the message notification faded. My ex-business partner, Chike Okafor. A man I once trusted. A man Tomowa helped push out of my company years ago. A man who walked away with a warning I never forgot. Your husband smiles like a friend, but he plays like an enemy. Why would he contact me now? What did he know? I stared at the ceiling that night, Zara sleeping beside me, and felt every instinct sharpen. One thing was clear. The betrayal ran deeper than Ao, deeper than the insults, deeper than Tomowa's plots. Something else was hiding in the dark. And I was ready to face it. The next morning I dropped Zara at my sister's home and drove to Was 2. The address led me to a quiet bungalow tucked between taller buildings. Humble, intentional, discreet. Chike opened the door before I knocked. Still tall. Still intense. Still carrying that sharp, observant gaze that made people uncomfortable because he seemed to see everything. Amara, he said quietly, stepping aside. You came. I don't waste time, I replied. He gave a small smile. Good. You'll need that energy. Inside his living room was minimal. One couch, one table, stacks of documents. He gestured for me to sit. I remained standing. Talk, I said. Why contact me now? He clasped his hands behind his back. Tomoe has been planning this for almost a year. A cold shock pricked across my skin. A year. Yes. He handed me a file. And his family is involved. I exhaled slowly, keeping my face still. Chaik continued. Last year he approached me pretending to want to reconcile. In reality he was gathering information about your assets, your company, your contracts, your weaknesses. I flipped through the file. Copies of emails, legal drafts, notes in Tomoe's handwriting. My pulse thudded painfully. Chaik went on. He asked me to help him take a controlling interest in your company. Told me he wanted to secure the family's financial future. But it was a lie. He wanted you legally dependent on him. I felt sick. This was before the affair? I whispered. Oh yes, Chaik said. The affair wasn't the betrayal. It was a symptom. He grew ambitious. Too ambitious. And someone close to him, fed that arrogance. I looked up sharply. His mother. Chaik nodded. She told him a man should never rely on a woman's money, that he needed to take control before you became more powerful than him. I swallowed hard. Chaik's voice softened. I tried to warn you, Amara. Remember the email I sent you last year? I nodded slowly. I thought you were bitter about leaving the company. He shook his head. No. I was trying to protect you. Guilt washed through me. But he wasn't done. There's more. Something bigger. He pulled out a second file. Your husband isn't only planning divorce. He was planning a hostile takeover of your company, through an investor connected to AO. I blinked. AO. Yes. Her uncle runs a shadow investment firm. Very aggressive. Very predatory. Tomoe planned to transfer key assets into a holding account, then claim you mismanaged funds. Enough damage to push you out of your own company. My knees weakened. I sat down. Chaik watched me carefully. He wanted everything, Amara. The company, the house, and Zara. A silence stretched thickly between us. Then he added, I couldn't let him do to you what he tried to do to me. I inhaled deeply. So why tell me now? Because, he said simply, this is the moment everything collapses on his head. And I want you to be the one standing when it does. I closed the file. Thank you, Chaik. He nodded. You're stronger than he ever understood. I rose to leave. But he called after me. Amara. Yes. You don't need to destroy him. Just show the truth. That alone will finish him. And he was right. Truth is the sharpest blade. And karma always cuts deeper than revenge. That evening I made a series of quiet moves. Legal moves. Clean moves. Moves that left no trace of anger. Only precision. I sent the documents to my lawyer. She nearly shouted through the phone. This is more than enough. We can dismantle his strategy without you even entering court. I notified the board of my company. By morning, Tomoe's access to anything business-related was revoked. I requested an internal audit. Every questionable transaction Tomoe attempted was now flagged and tied directly to his name. I transferred full house ownership to my trust. Legally flawless. Untouchable. Irreversible. I prepared a polite message for Mama T. A single line, your son's plan is known. We will proceed legally. I hit send. And waited. By midnight the cracks were already visible. At 6 a.m., Tomoe burst into the bedroom, eyes wide. Amara. What have you done? I sat up calmly. What's the problem? My accounts. My company access. Everything is locked. My boss called. He said there's an inquiry into my financial records. What is happening? I tilted my head gently. Consequences. Amara, please, he begged. I can't survive this. My job, my reputation, it's all at risk. I stared at him for a long time. Then I said quietly, you risked me first. He began pacing, hair disheveled, voice cracking. I'm sorry. I swear I didn't mean for things to go this far. You lied, I said softly. You manipulated. You planned. You tried to take Zara. You insulted her. You betrayed every promise you ever made. He sank to the floor. Amara. I'm begging you, help me fix this. I stood to leave. You didn't think about fixing anything when you were plotting. So fix it yourself. He grabbed my ankle. Amara, please. I stepped away. And for the first time he truly saw that I was done. By afternoon Mama T arrived at my gate. Without makeup. Without jewelry. Without pride. Amara, she said, voice trembling. We need to talk. I let her in but kept my distance. She sat on the couch like her bones weakened. I didn't know he would go this far, she said quietly. I only advised him as a mother. I remained silent. She sighed shakily. He is finished at work. They suspended him today. The inquiry, the documents, everything is pointing at him. What do you want from us? I met her eyes. I don't want revenge. I want peace. And I want my daughter protected. Mama T swallowed hard. Will you continue with the case? I nodded. Yes. She covered her face. I don't blame you. Then she added, barely audible, I failed her too. Your daughter. She didn't deserve what we did. I looked at her, this woman who once called me decorative. She wasn't powerful anymore. She was a mother watching her son lose everything. Karma is quiet, but it never misses. I thought the storm was ending. But life wasn't done with its revelations. 3 days later my lawyer called. Amara, we found something else. My heart tightened. What? She sighed. The holding account Tomoa tried to move your money into. It does belong to Ao's uncle. But guess who helped set it up? I don't know. It wasn't Tomoa. My breath caught. Then who? She cleared her throat. Your personal assistant. Tenny. I froze. Tenny? My Tenny. Yes. She provided your account information. Signed the fake contractor approval. Everything points to her. I sat down, stunned. Tenny betrayed me? My lawyer sighed. We confronted her. She confessed. Tears pricked my eyes, not from pain but disappointment. What reason did she give? She was dating Ao's cousin. They promised her a percentage if the takeover succeeded. It covered my mouth. A quiet betrayal. From someone who saw me every day. Who I treated like family. But the truth was out now. My lawyer added, don't worry. Everything was stopped in time. Nothing they planned succeeded. I whispered, and Tomoa? We'll meet him in mediation next week. The conference room was cold and white, the table long and intimidating. Tomoa sat across from me, thin, tired, defeated. His lawyer whispered urgently but he barely responded. He looked like a man who had spent months drowning in a lake he dug himself. The mediator began. Tomoa, do you contest joint custody? He shook his head. No. She deserves primary custody. My breath steadied. The mediator continued. Do you contest the financial separation? No, Tomoa whispered. She earned everything. I won't fight her. And the house. He hesitated. Then looked at me. You can have it. Silence filled the room. His lawyer winced knowing what that meant. But Tomoa leaned back, voice tired. I destroyed my marriage. I destroyed my job. I destroyed myself. Fighting now won't fix anything. For the first time he took responsibility. It didn't heal anything. But it mattered. The mediator turned to me. Mrs. Chokuma, do you have anything to add? I nodded slowly. Yes. Everyone looked at me. I spoke softly. I don't want him destroyed. I want him accountable, not ruined. Tomoa's eyes flickered with shock. I continued, he can rebuild his life. But he cannot rebuild it on the ashes of mine. The mediator smiled. Well said. And the agreement was signed. Clean. Final. Fair. A week after mediation I received a letter. Handwritten. From Ao. I hesitated before opening it. Inside her handwriting was shaky. I didn't know he was married when we started. He told me you were separated. He told me you didn't love him. By the time I found out the truth I was already in trouble. I know I hurt you. I am sorry. I am moving to Port Harcourt. Please raise Zara to forgive women like me so she never becomes one. I exhaled deeply. The letter didn't erase her choices. But it revealed the truth. Tomoa manipulated everyone. Not just me. His lies were the foundation of all our pain. And now, those lies were powerless. 3 months later Zara and I stood on the balcony of our home. Just us, just peace, just freedom. The sunset painted the sky gold. Zara asked quietly, Mommy, are we safe now? I smiled and held her. Yes, my angel. We're safe. Completely. She leaned into me. Did Daddy stop loving us? I shook my head. No. He got lost. And people who get lost make terrible choices. But love is still there. It just doesn't have a home with us anymore. Zara nodded slowly. Will he be okay? I smiled softly. Yes. Karma already handled the punishment. Life will handle the healing. She breathed out. Mommy. Yes, love. You're the strongest person I know. My throat tightened. No, I whispered. I just stopped pretending to be weak. She hugged me, small arms tight around my waist. And in that moment everything felt right. My freedom. My truth. My daughter. My future. Never fear the storm that exposes the truth. Fear the silence that hides betrayal. And never underestimate a woman protecting her child. She carries a strength no betrayal can break. The end.